Still firm, but I'd rather that than... Wow, so much has happened. We've tidied up a lot of stuff. We've adjusted on the belts, things, straps. They actually fit now. Polished the bumper. That was nice. We wiped down the engine bay. It was filthy. We've adjusted on all the suspension, and the front left is still not quite right. We're going to have to bring that camber in a little bit more, because when you turn the steering wheel, it kind of cambers in really badly, so that's no good. We've cleaned out the boot. We polished the rear bumper, but we're going to have to get another one. I bought these as 2 stainless ones. They are definitely not stainless. And they rusted away. Yeah, and they rusted away. Or there's lots of spots of rust. Polished it, but actually it's tarnished it for good now. So, mini fair coming up soon. See if we can snatch another, or maybe a pair. Maybe. The front is dented. A pair of nice stainless ones, so we don't have to be polishing every weekend. The interior we've just hoovered out. We're waiting for a centre console thingy, and then the thingy that goes under the thingy is behind there that holds some speakers, and tidy that up. And hopefully that'll tidy that area up in the middle. But we've switched out this one here. That's the volt gauge. That was not working. Now it is. We fixed on some other lights, new switches, new bulbs. Finally got all the lights working on the dash. We got really bright indicators all around. I mean, like flash your eyes out bright, which is perfect because it might sit by the side of the road a few times. It's good to be seen. So we're now going to put some snow foam on this and let it eat in, and hopefully all the bird muck, well, it's kind of like a little spatter because it's been in here, that hasn't eaten into the fresh paint. Let's hope. Give it a spruce up, and then the MOT guy will be dazzled by the shine and ignore everything that's wrong. This seems like the wise way to go forward. Hey! Okay, we'll give this just a little bit of a wipe out again. Just seen some dust. Don't like dust. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's immaculate in here other than that. So I'm just going to wipe that down with a cloth and then drive it around. Make sure the brakes are bedded in because they feel terrible at the moment. I'm hoping that is just bedding in. And wash. And I'll show you what we've got. Now, as far as test drives go, this doesn't scream success, does it? It pulls violently to the left all of the time. The brakes are, well, you need to have leg day in mind to be able to operate the brakes, so I'm going to have to rip out all that mechanism at the back again, I think, and adjust the leverage again. It's now too short. It overheats. I think there was an airlock and the fan doesn't want to come on. So I'm just currently wiring up temporarily a relay that will switch on with the headlights until I get a capillary switch thing that I can just run the fans at any temperature I want them. So yeah, that's what's happening. So other than it violently pulling to the left, the brakes don't really work, then they stick on, and the overheating, we're good to go. Sure. So everyone, exciting news, it passed the MOT, which is a momentous moment. On the MOT record, it was 2011 when this last went through an MOT. Since then it's had most of the panels, including half the chassis, replaced, subframes modified, upgraded, removed, replaced, new wheels. Pretty much everything has either been new or replaced on. I think of the original, the lights, the door handles, indicator stalks, and 2 or 3 of the windows. The boot was original. I think that might be it. Brake servo, which is what I'm actually coming to. So brakes, everything is good on this. It drives really violently badly. So I think the last little video quick update on this episode was that I'd driven it and it wanted to kill me. We've adjusted on suspension and it is better. We're going to adjust a little bit more. We're going to get some measurements from someone else with a Mini that drives sort of okay. We also gave it a wash just before. I could put an image up of that, I suppose, if I remember, in editing. First bath, not very like rubbed it, just got the worst of it off, so it looks lovely. But Dave, my man, is coming round in a week. Proper polish, wax it, protect it as best we can. It's not perfect, but I'm happy with. I mean, look at it. Looks amazing. Brakes though are the major issue, and fans. So I'm going to have a play around with that today. First, get the brakes feeling much better. The pedal is like travel that much, and it should be travelling that much. And so you're having to put all the effort into a small amount of leverage. So we need more leverage, so you don't have to use the thigh of Thor to get the brakes to work. They do work, but you really have to like get in there. So we're going to have to get that linkage out, which is really inaccessible now, and extend one of the cam things. So let's do that this morning, and then I'm going to have a little play with the fans. The Ford ECU doesn't seem to want to turn them on, but we do have the wiring and a relay inside. So I'm going to set up my own and hopefully make it happen. Like that. So to remove the brake bar, all you got to remove is intake pipe, ECU, loom bracket, move all the loom out of the way, then remove the spring on the bar, which is somewhere, the 2 clips, the 4 bolts, the nuts, the other bracket thing there, and it's out. And you have to like one of those like cryptic things, like games you play on the phone, you've got to like turn it one bit, and then move it an inch, and then turn it another way to get that cam pass into the gap, and then turn this one a bit that way, and yeah, never remember how that goes back in. It's been out about 84 times, I think. No, 83. 84th this must be. So we're going to try and extend this one now. Gone from a beautifully made, perfectly measured, to almost bodged now. But it's only the brakes, so it's not that important. Alrighty then, so that's adjusted. We have some more leverage at this end of that brake bar. Goes across, and now, good pedal. Still firm, but I'd rather that than... So that's fine. And obviously, you know, travel increases once pads are in, and other magical things happen that you don't think about. So that's good. Next problem we've got is the fan. 2 options for that, well 3 actually. 1, ignore it. Not very smart. 2, leave it as it is. Oh, we're coming up with 4 solutions now. Leave it as it is, which is connected to the headlights, so every time you turn the headlights on, the fan comes on, which seems a little bit pointless if you're driving at night. Just saying. 3, we got a gadgety thing I've put somewhere. Over here. Inside. Oh, keep forgetting we've got some interior things yet to do, but we don't need those for the road. Interior console, backboards, and we've still not got an interior light. We've got one of these things, which is, if you're ever struggling for a way to run a fan on temperature, this is 15 quid. You stick this probe into a water pipe or into your radiator if you must, and then all you have to do is put power one side and adjust exactly where you want the temperature for your fan to come on. I've got it at 90 there, it could be 120, it could be 60, and when it gets to that temperature on the end of that probe, admittedly, it then connects the 2 pins, and all you got to do is put a ground on the other side of your fan. Winning. I would obviously fuse the power going to this, or coming out, or not bother. So there's an option, but then I'd have to make a little accessory box and put this somewhere, or stick it behind the dash and run this little wire, because you can't shorten it or lengthen it or anything, through the bulkhead. So let's first diagnose. Here's my 4th option. Diagnose where it's not working and fix it. I like my first option, ignore it, but I fear that might have consequences. So let's bloop bloop, see if we can initiate it, because it's on the Ford system, and see if the ECU is unhappy, see if we can fix that. I will return. But, brake pedal, much nicer now. That's without servo. We have developed a squeak, but I can live with that. It's not exactly like you will hear that when you're driving. You pretty much can't hear, you know, yourself thinking, let alone a squeak. Yay! Hey everyone, so we're back here with the Mini about 4 hours later. That seems fine. Tested almost every piece of wiring that goes into the lighting circuit and plugs and all sorts. Everything was fine. So I've done the right thing and bodged it. But it works now. So we've got side lights, we've got dip beam, main beam, horn. It all works as it should with the little thingy on the dashboard. It's so complicated the way they do this, I have to admit, with this one relay, that different inputs and outputs, and not necessary. So, done it my way. It's working. Brakes, sorted. Fan circuit, tested all that out. The plug was a little bit melted. So we fixed on that. Tested the circuits. Gave its own ground rather than a shared ground. Tested the relay. And then final ECU test. We can do a self-test procedure. For some reason I can't test it on its own. But that's running. And then in a couple of seconds time, it's running all sorts of tests on different applications. And then... So I know that works. So I just need to somehow trick the ECU into thinking that the coolant temperature is at maximum, just to test that that's working. I'm going to scratch my head on that one, and yeah, once I'm happy that the ECU will turn it on, then I'm happy. I tested this before and it worked, and then when it got hot the other day it didn't come on. So, perfect.